Welcome to Explore the World in Education. Today we will be talking about Grade 10 History, second lesson, Ancient Settlements. So let's get started. Our first topic is human habitation in Sri Lanka. When did Sri Lanka become a human habitation? Sri Lanka became a human habitation 125,000 years ago. Who migrated to Sri Lanka across the Indian Ocean? The Homo sapiens, who are called the modern man, migrated to this country across the Indian Ocean. How did the Homo sapiens adapt after migrating to Sri Lanka? They spread themselves in various parts of this country and adapted themselves to different environmental conditions in those areas. How did the culture of Homo sapiens change over time in Sri Lanka? As they lived a considerably long time period in this country, with time their culture too have changed. Into how many stages is the history of human existence in Sri Lanka divided? Based on changes in their culture, the history of human existence in Sri Lanka has been divided into three stages. Okay, now let's talk about prehistoric and protohistoric era of Sri Lanka. What is the period before the past described by literary sources commonly named? The period before the past that is described by the literary sources is commonly named as the prehistoric era. How many cultural stages belong to the prehistoric era of Sri Lanka? Two cultural stages belong to the prehistoric era of Sri Lanka. What was the first cultural stage of the prehistoric era? The first cultural stage was the Stone Age, which existed for a long time. Who made the early settlements in Sri Lanka? Settlements in Sri Lanka were made by the early Homo sapien man. How did the Homo sapien expand his living area in Sri Lanka? Homo sapien expanded his living in a wide geographical area by adapting himself to different climatic zones in this country. What was the main dependency method of the early Homo sapiens in Sri Lanka? Their main dependency method was gathering food by roaming and hunting. Now let's talk about evidence of the Stone Age in Sri Lanka. Where is the evidence of the Stone Age in Sri Lanka found? Evidence of the Stone Age in Sri Lanka is found in many places, including Ratnapura and the gem mines located around Ratnapura. What is deposited in the gravel layers found in Ratnapura's mines? The stone tools used by these people who lived in a distant age and the bones of some extinct animals are deposited in the layers of soil mixed with gravel called iode, found in mines about 90 feet deep from the ground level. How were the gravel layers in Ratnapura formed? The gravel layers were caused by the erosion of mountainous regions due to extremely heavy rainy periods during the Pleistocene geographical era and were deposited on the lowlands in this manner. What is Irinamadu Formation? The Irinamadu Formation is a gravel layer covered with sandy soil mixed with clay in the ground in the semi-arid zone in Sri Lanka, named by archaeologists. When was the Irinamadu Formation deposited? The Irinamadu Formation was deposited during the short warm periods of the Pleistocene era. What tools are found in the Irinamadu Formation? Some tools which belong to the Stone Age are found in this gravel layer. Now let's talk about expansion of settlements in different climatic zones. How many main environmental zones did the community of the Stone Age live in Sri Lanka? The community of the Stone Age lived in six main environmental zones in Sri Lanka. What are the six main environmental zones where the Stone Age community lived? The six main environmental zones are semi-arid zone, lowland dry zone, lowland intermediate dry zone, wet zone, mountainous dry intermediate zone, arid zone. Now let's talk about environmental zones and their impact. What factor is considered in deciding environmental zones? The differences in annual rainfall levels are considered in deciding environmental zones. How does rainfall affect environmental zones? If there is a difference in the rainfall, it directly affects the animals and the plants in that particular area. How did people in the Stone Age adapt to different environmental zones? The people in the Stone Age who adapted themselves to different environmental zones had differences in their food consumption and technology. What type of food did the Stone Age community in the lowland wet zone consume? The Stone Age community in the lowland wet zone mostly consumed oysters, living on the land as their food. Why were oysters abundant in lowland wet zone? Different types of oysters are abundant in the lowland wet zone due to its environmental conditions. What types of food did the Stone Age community in the lowland dry zone consume? In the lowland dry zone, people hunted animals, mostly living in the dry zone, like deer and iguana. So that is the end of this video. So make sure to subscribe us, leave us a like and a comment for the part 2 of this video. Thanks for watching.